There it is, Will Smith. That's the character. Here's the real life man, Chris Gardner. How are you? That's some drama right there, man. What's it like seeing your life in a movie? What's that like?
Wow. Not just in a movie, but in a movie with the #1 movie star in the world.
Who you didn't want, though, I thought at first to play.
Well, it's not that I didn't want him. I didn't see it. We all think of Will, we think of big, blockbuster, extravaganza, outer space. This movie's about inner space, not outer space. But it was my daughter who helped me to get my mind right when she explained to me, Pop, if he can play Muhammad Ali,
you better
play you, okay?
And you thought, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people saw this movie. I wondered, is it true? How much of the movie's real?
I was on the set every day for 17 weeks of shooting, and I feel very, very comfortable with the depiction, the portrayal. I could not be more happy or proud.
Is it accurate? Did those scenes happen the way they all said they did?
Well, not exactly. Now, telling a story in a film is one thing. That's why I'm glad I had a chance to do the book. And when you see the movie, it's different for you. When you see a film, you see what they did shoot that day. I see what was not shot the rest of the day. I see it in 3D. It's a different movie for me every time I see it.
You know, it's an interesting conversation to watch develop, the one between Will Smith and his son in that movie. What was it like with you and your son? Because you're sitting there having to explain to your son, this isn't just we're living in a smaller apartment, this is a bathroom, which we don't know.
Well, you know, keep in mind, a very important thing. In the film, they had to make the little boy 5 years old so the characters could have that kind of dialogue. When I was having this experience, my little boy was 2.
Wow. So
he was still in diapers. So we still had to have conversations, but they were very different.
What do you say to him?
Wow. You know what? The most painful thing for me to say to him every day was, I'll be back. Meaning, I had to leave him in daycare situations that I was not always comfortable with, but what I could afford. And for anyone out there who's ever had to leave their child with someone you don't know, that was the most painful thing in the world. You know?
Okay, so those moments when you're, I guess, at your lowest point, your son's asleep, you're awake, and you're going through your day before you get into the firm, before you get a break, in any way as an intern. What are you saying to yourself? How are you keeping yourself in a position where you think, it'll be okay?
I kept remembering something my dear friend, Reverend Cecil Williams, who's in the movie and plays himself. He used to say to me every day, baby steps count too, as long as you're going forward. And one day you add all those baby steps up and you might be surprised at where you can get to. But more importantly, I remember something my mom used to say to me every day. She would say, son, the cavalry ain't coming. You got to do this yourself. Ain't no backup. Okay? And when you put those two things together, man, it wasn't as hard to keep going forward as you might think.
You know, in the movie, people get a sense, if they see it or if they, about your adult life when you were doing this, but all the stuff that comes before your childhood, your stepfather, that's the stuff that I think, I mean, being Christmas naked outside at gunpoint? Tell me that story.
Well, you know, it's interesting you should mention that story. A lot of churches in the States would not touch the book. One particular African-American minister, I won't say his name, but he's supposedly one of these big, huge guys, and he points out to me, he says, you know what, that stuff in that book, some of it was just too real and too graphic and too raw for my flock, and my flock was just so sensitive, and we couldn't handle that. And I had to say to him, I said, well, you know, Reverend, I think I understand that. I was the one at 15 put outside, butt naked, dripping wet, Christmas Day, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was a sensitive situation for me. Heaven forbid you should have to read about it. Okay?
At gunpoint.
Hey, at gunpoint. I couldn't think of nothing else to say to him, George. I said, flock you, and hung up the phone.
Man. But that's it. Like that is essentially the nugget of this whole story.
Well, there are several of them, but I think the point that you were trying to make, I know the point I was trying to make in the book, is that it was not just about me. It was about everyone who ever had every opportunity to become all the negative stuff that was right in your face. Alcoholism, domestic violence, child abuse, illiteracy, fear, powerlessness. But we all made a conscious choice to go the other way.
Now, the business that you got into, did you know anything about it before you went to that? You saw the red car?
No, I didn't. But you know what I did know? I knew I wanted to become world class at something. My first ambition in life, man, I wanted to be Miles Davis. I studied trumpet for 9 years. I wanted to be Miles.
Well, as luck would have it, Quincy Troop, where Chris Gardner with Quincy Troop, didn't he write the Miles Davis?
Quincy Troop.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Quincy Troop? What?
We'll talk offline, okay?
No. You can't say that. Okay, it said with him.
Well, I will say this. That was a very, very painful experience, man.
Writing the book with him?
Oh, God. I mean, look, all the stuff, everybody in this room has got all the stuff in their head in these nice, tightly packed little boxes that all say, do not disturb, do not touch, right?
Please don't open this again.
And he made me go in there. What I found out was when I took the lid off of one box, it was attached to another one, and another one, and another one. Quincy Troop.
I believe he helped make you money and get your story out, did he not?
but he helped me get all that stuff out of my head.
What you needed to.
Yes,
but this is
I feel better. I'm getting better,
well,
George.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly you're in a much better place. But it speaks to something else, and that is pride. And that how difficult it is, especially for men, to take a look at their situation and say, oh, look, I'm in a position that I didn't think I was going to be in. I've got nothing. I've got very few opportunities, and it's a very hard thing for people with pride. Did you have to learn a lesson about that?
You know what? I think one of the positive effects the book and the movie is having is maybe guys are looking at, or there's a dialogue starting that is, maybe there should be a new definition of happiness. A new definition of success.
Spelled with a Y.
And spelled with a Y for a reason. The Y is there because we're talking about you and your happiness. You may ask everybody in this room what makes them happy, you're going to get a different definition. The key is being bold enough to pursue it.
What makes you happy now? You got money.
I'm healthy. You know what? Money is the least significant aspect of wealth. What makes me happy now? I'm healthy. As a single parent, I've raised 2 children that have become fabulous young people, and I'm in a position to do work that reflects my values.
Well, and you're doing that now. Talk about the stuff. Are you working with in Africa now on programs? Was it with Nelson Mandela?
Well, we're doing some work in South Africa.
South Africa with Nelson Mandela?
With Mr. Mandela's absolutely been instrumental to getting it going. But we're doing some work in private equity in South Africa. I can't talk a lot about it. We're doing a private transaction. Securities laws are very strict until we get it done, which could be soon. We've been working on it close to 4 years.
Your kids are adults, right?
Young adults, and I have recreated the Kennedys in chocolate.
Oh. Yes. You have?
My children have very, very highly evolved senses of entitlement.
Is that good? Are you okay with that?
No, I am not okay with that.
Problem.
We're working to adjust that.
But I imagine that's got to be an interesting thing for you as a father now to talk to your kid and say, because they're going to experience something that you didn't have, which is
and that was part of the plan, and that's where a lot of parents blow it. We try to give our children things we didn't have, thinking that it's going to give them a better life, and what we find out sometimes is we give you guys too much. Okay? We give you too much. It's time for parents to start taking shit back.
Nice. Good to see you. Chris Gardner, everybody.